we're here today. It's the 2017 Ivy Leaf School Alumni Reunion Brunch. This was actually something that Keisha Sanders and I, Karima Abdul Sharif Bushnefa, put together. We would always see each other and say, oh, we got to get together for Ivy Leaf. We have to do something. And so we decided to just go ahead and do it. We chose Relish because it's a Black-owned restaurant. The Ivy Leaf School was Black-owned, and they always encouraged us to support our own and to believe in the excellence of our people. So we have a great turnout today. There are actually 76 people here, and there are a lot more who may just pop in throughout the day. And it's just a blessing to be able to share this time with Mrs. Green, one of the founders, and just honor her for all that she's given us.
A marvelous day. I am so appreciative that Keisha and Karima planned the very first Ivy Leaf reunion. We were open for 43 years, opened in 1965 and closed in 2008. Thousands of students graced the doors of Ivy Leaf School, and to be able to see some of the former students, parents, and staff members today is just a wonderful experience. And I'm looking forward to being able to see them again in the future as other activities are planned. But this was the first and very exciting activity, and I'm most appreciative of it. I really can't express to you what this means to me. Ivy Leaf has been the heart of my life since 1965. And to see so many former Ivy Leaf students, staff persons, parents, it's just a wonderful experience. I am also going to explain that an organization that my husband belonged to, he's the founder of Educators to Africa. They are establishing a scholarship in his name, and Karima is going to give out some flyers regarding the scholarship, okay? I'm going to just read a few of my poems to you. When I retired, God just gave me more than 100 poems. And I really had planned to put them in a book and just give them to friends, but I have not done so far. I might do that in the future. but I just wanted to share a few of these poems with you. This first poem was written for a graduating class, that graduated from the Broad Street building. Ivy Leaf, and we put it in song, but because I can't really sing, I'm just going to read it to you. Because if you heard this voice, you would leave your meal and run out of the door and say it wasn't worth staying to hear that voice. So I'm just going to read it to you. Farewell, Ivy Leaf. Ivy Leaf, it's time to go. It's been grand, surely you know. Goodbye to staff and friends so dear. Parting time is drawing near. Ivy Leaf, the green and gold, we're traveling on to heights untold. Memories we hold so dear of Ivy Leaf throughout the years. Years of work and years of fun. We're moving on, we've just begun. We'll soar like eagles in the sky. We will excel, yes, we will fly. The future's calling, we must go. Great achievements we will show. Rising high, we'll take our place, leaders in tomorrow's race. Ivy Leaf, oh Ivy Leaf, we bid farewell to you. Now I'd like to say that I don't want to hold up your meal, so don't clap at each point. I'd like to say that this poem predicted what has actually happened. That as our Ivy Leaf students have left, they have gone on to soar to great heights. And one day, perhaps, many of you will be able to tell what you're doing. I know we don't have time today, but that would be wonderful. I'd like to say also that Ivy Leaf was really God's work. And he told me that one day. And I must stop and tell you this story because Ivy Leaf had been open 15 years. I was very exhausted because I made sure that all the bills were paid and all of the staff was paid. So often I didn't get a pay, and so I was wearing several hats. And one day I was sitting in my office and I said to God, I had never complained, and I said, what is all of this? And he said to me, this is my work. Now I have to tell you this story. Maybe a year later, some water every day at a certain time, water just poured out of the wall. This is over at Washington, Maine, and straight down the ramp into the dining room. And I just said, Lord, I've done all I could do. We had brought roofers in and so forth, and we could not figure out where this water was coming from each day at a certain time. And so I'm standing there complaining to God. Do you know what God said to me? You are standing on holy grounds. Is that awesome? He said, didn't I tell you this was my work and you're going to come to me and complain about a little water? How dare you? So I thought you would be interested in knowing that this school is really God's work, because you know I couldn't dream of anything like that stand. And we later found out that the sink in one of the classrooms was broken, the pipe was broken, and that's where the water was coming from, and of course we fixed it. But I just thought you would be interested in knowing, and therefore I'm going to read this short poem to you. Thy goodness. When I think about thy goodness, I am humbled by thy love. When I think about thy grace, sent from thy heavenly home above. Oh, the multitude of thy blessings, unsurpassed, undeserved. The richness of thy guidance gleamed from thy holy word. O my God and my Father, the almighty Prince of Peace, we honor thee in glory. We bow humbly unto thee. We always told our students that they were special and they could do anything. And we told our students that. And the students that are here with us today know that we told them that the sky is unlimited. So before the world, my philosophy has always been, before the world could tell our children what they could not do, we had already shown them what they could do, and the world couldn't touch them. As you know, we had children reading at the age of 4. That was very unusual. Now, Now society has finally caught up with it, and they do have children reading at the age of 4 and 5. But when we were doing it, we were extremely unique. So we knew what we were doing. Okay, this is a poem that says to our students and to each of us here, you can win. Life is a challenge. Life is a race. The good and the bad we face each day. Some are beaten, some give up. You alone can conquer and take the winner's cup. It is all in how you face it, the good and the bad, the joy and the sorrow, be happy or be sad. You choose the path you must trod each day. You must solve problems as they come your way. You can be defeated or you can persevere. Your attitude can bring sorrow or it can bring cheer. Show determination, fight on to the end. Don't let life defeat you. You can win. All right. Okay? And just to show you that the variety of poems that God laid on front of my heart, this is about childhood. All of us either have children or know people that have children. A quick patter of their little feet as they awake noisily from a restful sleep, wrestling, tumbling as they laugh and play, ready to begin a brand new day. Shrieking, pushing as they rise and dress, my, their room is a terrible mess. Leaving for school with books in place, with a happy expression on each little face. Back so soon, coats flown here and there. Noise and chatter fill the air. They're only young for a little while, so enjoy their fun and their precious smiles. But one day you'll find, and all too soon, lots of empty spaces fill their rooms. Everything is quiet, you are now apart. They have moved out of the house, but not out of your heart. And the last poem I will read is concerning our heritage. We stand proud and tall. Who are we? We come from Africa, from a rich, proud continent, you see. Our grandparents were brought over as slaves, but they fought bitterly to be set free. We come from a proud heritage, Martin Luther and Booker T. Our people have faced many adversities. We remain undefeated in spite of strife. With determination and perseverance, we have achieved great goals in this life. And we will strive to continue to give the world to our all. For we come from a strong, rich heritage as we stand proud and tall. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, good morning. Really grateful for this opportunity to get together with so many folks who've had a shared experience. I was telling Mrs. Green that I do presentations in my real life in terms of my job, and I still use my first grade class picture to make a point that we're still the same people that we've always been. I've run into some folks that I've met during previous jobs, some folks that used to be students when I was a guidance counselor at colleges. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I suspect that this is going to be so much more than what we all imagined this would be today, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Ivy League style, you never fail to inspire us. And we're all blessed that we've been doing wonderful things, and you just inspired us to keep going, to keep pushing, and to keep honoring both you and Mr. Green and our ancestors. And we just have a small, we have two tokens of appreciation. One is, well, I have to say, some of my most prized possessions are the awards I used to get as a student at Ivy League school. And so we want to give you an award just to celebrate you. Can you see the inscription on that?
I'll let you read it.
Okay. So this says, thank you, and it has the Ivy League logo on it. And it says, to William and Lillard Green, for your lifelong commitment to building leaders of tomorrow by educating youth today. With love and gratitude from your Ivy League School alumni, April 2017. You're more than welcome.
I mean I with the love of Ivy Leaf School. So my name is Kia Baker. My maiden name is Lighty. So some of you may know my mother, Mrs. Betty Lighty. So I am the daughter of an Ivy Leaf educator. My mom is doing well, but carried a 174. I think she's 74. So she's doing well. I am also the sister of an Ivy League alumni. My brother was Luther Lighty. I think he graduated in '85. I graduated in 1988. My 88 people are here. I had the privilege of going to all 4 locations as well, starting out in nursery school at Herman Street all the way to Broad Street, graduating in the 8th grade. And we were just recollecting how there were 33 graduates in the 8th grade, and we had to borrow a boy from the 7th grade to walk with one of the girls so we could even out the boys and the girls. But it was a great opportunity in life. I mean, oratorical contest, my award, spelling bee champ. I love Ivy League. I love the connections. I love what it afforded me. I still talk about Ivy League. I am regrettably not the parent of an Ivy League student. I so wish that my daughter could have attended Ivy League school, and I mean, my problems would have been solved for the next 10 years. But regrettably, I'm not. I'm also a former Ivy League board member, so another notch on my list for my connection with Ivy League. So I'm just thankful, and I can also be glad to call Mrs. Green my soror as well. Before I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, Mrs. Green wrote my letter, and I just thank her retrospectively 19 years ago for doing that. So I'm just thankful for the connection of Ivy League and also Mrs. Green.
My name is Derek Reinhardt. I'm class of 1986, Karima's classmate, Grant and Frank's classmate. This is actually a pretty easy talk because I talk about Ivy League all the time. In my travels, where I work, and I do a lot of talks to school kids in the Washington, D.C. area, and they ask me, how did I get where I am? And Ivy League is one of those stepping stones for me. Although I only attended Ivy League for 2 years, I was at Broad Street, 7th and 8th grade. The memories are great. The foundation for me in learning who I was and how to proceed forward has been absolutely monumental. When I'm in meetings now, I work for BMW in Washington, D.C. When I'm in meetings, I look around and I'm the only one there. It's just me. And I'm very thankful for Ivy League and the foundation that it provided. One quick story. Getting ready to graduate from Ivy League in 8th grade, trying to figure out which school I was going to go to. It was between Central and Engineering and Science. And everybody talked about the great Central High School. And it was a great school. But I can honestly say when I got to the 9th grade, it was a repeat of the 8th grade. It was very easy. So I am very thankful for Ivy League, and thank you, Mrs. Green. And I would be much remiss if I didn't thank my mom, and my dad, who's passed away now, but they provided also the foundation for me to be able to attend Ivy League. And also, last but not least, Mr. Green, he was a role model for me, and may he rest in peace. Thank you.
Derek, you got me up here wanting to cry now.
Go ahead, man.
For all of you that don't know, my name is Grant Buford III. I'm also class of 1986. I had the privilege of attending all of the Ivy League schools, Broad Street, Washington Lane. I don't think I went to Herman Street, but I did go to Church Lane, Broad Street, and Washington Lane. What I really appreciate about Ivy League is, as Derek mentioned, it provided a very good foundation for us, especially as African American. What I see lacking in a lot of our African American children today is they don't know who they are. They have no clue as to where they came from. They lack the foundation of understanding that they are great and that they have the potential to really be great. And they don't understand the greatness of our people. So I really appreciate and applaud Mrs. Lilla Green, who I also have the pleasure of calling my aunt. Aunt Lilla is what I call her. Her and Uncle Bill, which is also, he was my Uncle William C. Green. I really appreciate the privilege of being able to go to that school and to be able to learn and to be able to get a good foundation for who I am and what I can be or what I can also become. Now, like Kia mentioned, I didn't have the privilege of having children to go to Ivy League. I have small children. I have a 4.
I know you didn't have to. I know the days that you were tired. I know the days that you wanted to kick up your feet, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. and the extension of the village that we had. And I could go to Dr. Mujahid's house and open up the refrigerator and get a little grub, and I knew I was always welcome. And there was a lot of other families that I could go and have an extension outside of just my block, and have an extension of families throughout Philadelphia, and not just be centered on one street in Philadelphia where I just go to my local school and that's all I knew. I have friends all over. I know the city better because I got friends all over. I got a better understanding of things because of those extensions. So I had opportunity to see real black families and not be oppressed and circled by lies. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I especially remember the hip hop song, hip hop kids talk about. I'm doing this with my 8th graders, yes, because they did not receive the foundation that I received at Ivy League. They don't have it, and it hurts my heart. But guess what? I do have that foundation, and I'm going to instill it in the children that looks like you and I. So I thank you. Thank you. Can I please have the class? I see a lot of my class of 91. Please stand. Remain standing, please. Also, the staff members at Ivy League, please stand.
Mrs. Green, when Ivy League School, how I got to come to Ivy League School is after graduation from Lincoln University. So I applied for a job at Ivy League School, and I remember meeting Mrs. Green in the office on a warm summer day. It was in the afternoon. And she and I had met, and we had conversed about the job and the role that she wanted me to serve as a second grade teacher. So I was so excited. Like, I had my first elementary school job, and I was excited about this beautiful school and this program here in a different part of the city, because I live in Southwest Philadelphia and I needed to travel to the Mount Airy section every day. So I've taken on this job, and I'm moving in, and I'm Miss Page at this time. I'm not Mrs. Baker. A few months later on down the line, I'm teaching, and I'm telling Ms. Green I'm getting married in June, and I will become Mrs. Baker, and so forth and so forth. Make a long story short, Ivy League School has blessed me and my husband to have not only me work there, but my children to have attended, and my nephew, who my husband and I had taken in for a period of time, and my husband also served on the parent council and so forth, and directing our school and school business. But then there was this time that came to pass when Mrs. Green had started to see this leadership role in me, and started to talk to me about moving forward and doing these different things. And in doing that, I moved up the ranks of Ivy League School, which I never thought. I just thought I was going to be a teacher and then probably go to another school at a later time in my life. But what happened was I moved up the ranks of leadership, and then came the day when she sat me down and said, I'm gonna need you to leave Washington Lane and go to Broad Street. I was like, oh no. All I know is, on Washington Lane, and I didn't want to go, and I kept fighting with her, like, don't send me, please. I did not want to go, and finally the day came when I had to leave. It was right after our Christmas break, and she told me on the last day of our Christmas break, Baker, I'm going to not see you on that first day back, and I'll greet you at Broad Street the next morning. I said, I got to open with an assembly. I got to talk to all those kids. And I said, I knew the children, but I knew them as little people. I didn't know them as young middle schoolers. But make a long story short, getting to work with the Greens was an amazing opportunity. And then I moved on and went into Camden. Now I'm serving as a principal over in Camden. And I remember, Miss Green and I, we talk 2-3 times a year. We eat lunch once or twice a year. Miss Byers, Miss Savage, many of you know Miss Tina Savage. We meet up with Miss Green twice a year at least. But when I'm stuck, I call her and I'm like, Miss Green, tell me what to do. These people over here, they don't get it. The work ethic is poor. Just tell me what to do. And I appreciate that. I appreciate just your love and care around keeping in touch with me and mentoring me even though we're not together every day. I do not like public speaking, so Ms. Coleman turned around and said, Ms. Baker, get up there and speak. I was like, Mrs. Green, I would not be the person that I am today, the educator and the leader that I am in Camden if it wasn't for you. I thank you for every opportunity you provided to me and my children. I thank you for everything you did for the staff and the students who I was able to be a part of. And because of you, we were able to bless so many kids and so many families. So we just honor you today. We recognize you today. We recognize Mr. Green. And we're just grateful people for God allowing us to meet. So thank you from my heart. And I love you. Together because this gathering, I'm blessed that we're all here, but I'm thinking about my dad. I miss my dad every day. But I am an Ivy League student, Ivy League parent, served on the board and was a staff member. I love my mom. I love and miss my dad. And I just thank the two of you for putting this together because people kept saying we should all get together. And I just want us to give Karima and Keisha a hand. Bring What we have here is very, very special. When I left Ivy League, I continued to be an educator. I've been in schools all over from Montgomery County, Bucks County, Philadelphia, and I have never found what we have here. It just doesn't exist. And so the fact that we're all here today and we're paying tribute not just to the past, but also looking at this bright future that we have for ourselves and our families and the legacy that we have is very special. I hope that this is something that can continue. I think next year we're probably going to have to do it in a larger place because there were people who wanted to come who couldn't get in. So just continue living your lives, just exuding that legacy that all of us receive from Ivy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know, I'm Sandra Fields. I came to Ivy League School in 1986 to teach second grade. On the day that Mrs. Green interviewed me, she asked me, how many schools have you interviewed? I said, this is my third. She said, well, which one are you going to go with? I said, the one that hires me. She said, well, at the conclusion of this meeting, I'm going to hire you. And I was like, on the outside, I was just as calm and reserved. On the inside, I was jumping. I got a job. I got a real job. The first day I was teaching second grade, I ran home. And I said, Mommy, Daddy, guess what? They said, what? I'm teaching. Well, isn't that what you went to school for? I said, yes, but as a substitute, I was always just disciplining. I'm really teaching now. And Mrs. Green has really been there for me. I didn't need much when my father passed. I was too busy trying to make sure my mother was okay. But when my mother passed, it hit me hard. And Mrs. Green knew something was wrong, and she helped me. I also remember the time when I thought I had cancer, and Mrs. Green said, oh no, darling, that's not cancer. Because she knew I wasn't acting myself. She took me in her room and she said, what's wrong? And I told her, and she said, that's not cancer. She said, I know about that. She said, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Well, in 2004, I did get cancer, and I was wishing that my mom was there, and I was also wishing that Mrs. Green was there to talk to, because I was alone and scared and didn't know who to talk to about it, and I didn't tell anybody about it. But God, and God saw me through it. But I just like to say, I've been a private school teacher, Catholic school teacher, charter school teacher, public school teacher, early childhood educator. But the school I talk about the most is Ivy League. The children I talk about are Ivy League children. It's nothing like them. If someone had I used to tell my students, you can be anything you want to be as long as it's legal. You can be the president of a company. You can be the president of the United States. Well, at the time, I was like, yeah, right. But then when President Obama became president, I was like, see, I told him they could be president. And I never stopped. I never stopped. I told all the children that I'm around, you can be anything you want to be. And I'm looking around and see that that has come to true. I talk about one student who had little problems in my classroom, who became a chef, went to Paris to study under a chef. I talk about one who is a motivational speaker and a minister. I had one student, I don't know if you remember this, but he went to Abington or Cheltenham to go to school, and his mother came back and said they gave him a battery of tests. And he passed every last one of them. And she came back and thanked Ivy League School for that. And I mean, just Ivy League, the children that went through my room, the Whispers, one of their sons was in my classroom. Assistant DA was in my classroom. The granddaughter of former Councilman Joseph Coleman was in my room. So, I mean, I talk about Ivy League like, and the money. I tell people how much I made when I started there. I would take that salary back any day because it wasn't about the money. It was about educating children that looked like me, making sure they had a great foundation. When nobody else loved them, I let them know I loved them, and I still do. Thank you, Mrs. Green, for that.
I just couldn't let this moment pass before I had to stop in here. I was doing something earlier, and so I just have to go and say my thanks. Those that don't know me, I'm Victor Glenn. I was a science teacher at Broad Street, and it was my first teaching job. It's funny because I went in and I was interviewing Mr. Green. So we talked about science and everything. So Mr. Green said to me, well, Mr. Glenn, you got the job if you want it. And I was like, I gotta think about it, Mr. Green. So I went home and I said to myself, why are you so dumb? Call him back and tell him you want the job. So I called Mr. Green back and said, Mr. Green, I do want the job. So it was my first teaching job. I never wanted to be a teacher. Never, ever wanted to be a teacher. But once I got to Ivy League and started working with the students, looking at Mr. Green, you know, him being that figure there and how important education was, so it's something I decided that this is what I want to do. So since leaving Ivy League, you know, I've been at my current school for 20 years. I'm the dean of students at my school, so, you know, I owe it all to Mr. and Mrs. Green for giving me the opportunity to be a teacher. I love all my students at Broad Street, they know I do. Mr. Coleman and I going outside with that flag football, you know, with this gold. I mean, that was something. The green and gold days. But I must say, green and gold day, my team, we always won the tug of war. We always won the tug of war. But you know, it was great. I mean, I look back on those days, you know, when I look at the students today and the ones that I'm teaching, I mean, they can't compare to the students at Ivy League. No way, no how. You know, one thing I used to always tell the parents when they came in, I said the one thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure that my students at Ivy League, no matter what high school they went to, that they would be able to pass science. So I wanted to make sure that that was my goal, and I hope that I did achieve that goal. But Mrs. Green, I appreciated the opportunity to be at Ivy League. I appreciate the students, the staff, and I've never been one of the staff that was so close. We were like family. Staff was real close. Going out, getting those ribs and things like that. So it was real nice being there. And I just wanted to, you know, show my appreciation today and want to thank Mrs. Green and the late Mr. Green for giving me the opportunity to be a teacher. Thank you.
I'm here to work with
Keisha and Karima, because we know that all of you have a lot of contacts, and rather than expecting two people to do this all the time, it would be good if some of you volunteered and we can reach more people and there would be greater help. But I thank each of you for being present, and may God bless you as you go on your way. Thank you.